Professor Parimal Vyas, my co-panelists on the dais, distinguished faculty and friends at MS University, Vadodara. I must tell you that it's a great privilege and honor to be here in this very famous university, which is part of India's educational history. I think it's a matter of pride, and I'm sure all of you present here sense that pride in yourselves as you participate in the activities of this university. This is a great university with a reputation all over the country and all over the world, and is particularly so now because this is the 150th anniversary of Maharaja Sayaji Rao Gaikwad, the founder of this university. I think we should all pay a great homage and tribute to the Doordarshita of the Maharaja, who not only had made primary education in the state compulsory, but I was just informed, had envisioned laws on the environment and ecology way back in 1930. We heard from one of the speakers the phrase sustainable development. The idea of sustainable development is not possible without that perfect balance and harmony between man and nature, which our Shastras have also spoken of very, very eloquently. So when we talk about the politics of development, I think we must remember that development is not just brick and mortar. Development is not only concrete and glass. Development is also about the human being. Unless the human being is developed internally, there can be no serious development. लोग कहते हैं कि आने वाले दशकों में भारत को एक पराशक्ति बनना है, महाशक्ति बनना है। मैं समझता हूं कि एक महाशक्ति का परिभाषा जो है वो सिर्फ ये जो मटेरियल विकास है उससे जुड़ा नहीं है। आध्यात्मिक विकास भी उसका एक बहुत बड़ा अंग है, और ये बात हमें कभी भूलनी नहीं चाहिए। I've heard with great interest the very interesting presentations made by some of the students here and who have come from other universities also, and I'm very glad, and I would like to congratulate the university and its senate and all those who have been responsible for holding this kind of function for the development of knowledge and skills of young people. हम कहते हैं India is on its way to becoming a knowledge society. और आने वाले दिनों में ये जो बात होती है कि आज देश के जो आबादी है, अभी किसी वक्ता ने कहा 121 करोड़ की आबादी के 70% युवा है, और इसमें हमारा जो एडवांटेज है वो ये है कि इस युवा को अगर हम सही दिशा में शिक्षा और ज्ञान का वर्धन कर पाए तो दुनिया में कोई ताकत नहीं है जो भारत का आने वाले दिनों में मुकाबला कर पाएगा। So it is very important that our youth does not remain a strength only in numbers. सिर्फ संख्या की बात नहीं है, गुणवत्ता की भी बात है। और इसीलिए ये जो आज आपका उपक्रम है, जो प्रयास है, मैं इसकी सराहना करता हूं और आप सबको मैं बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं उसके लिए। Now coming to the subject of today's discussion, politics of development. You know, I think it's a very, very interesting subject that you have chosen today, because we are faced with a multiplicity of choices today in this country in politics. As a journalist and reporter for the last nearly 30 years, I particularly remember, before all these issues had become so commonplace, before you had regular debates on television, and when newspapers were the only way of carrying out debate on public issues, तो मुझे याद है कि 1994 के दौरान मैं महाराष्ट्र के विदर्भ क्षेत्र में एक बार 1994 चुनाव के लिए कवर करने के लिए गया हुआ था. And deep inside one region, I think it was somewhere near Washim, सड़क पे एक दुकान पे हम चाय पीने के लिए रुके, जो कि पत्रकार का एक तरीका होता है कि चाय की दुकान में बैठ जाए, कुछ गपशप करें और वहाँ रुझान क्या है, लोग क्या सोच रहे हैं, राजनीति किस ओर जा रही है, इसके बारे में छानबीन करें. इस इरादे से हम वहाँ रुके और बातचीत करने लगे. तो एक बुजुर्ग किसान से बातचीत करते करते मैंने उनसे पूछा, मैंने कहा कि इस बार क्या रुझान है, आप क्या सोच रहे हैं. तो उन्होंने कोई गोलमोल जवाब दिया. तो जस्ट टू प्रोवोक हिम मैंने कहा कि ये ठीक है, आप मैंने सरकार की इतनी आलोचना क्यों कर रहे हैं, क्यों निंदा कर रहे हैं, काफी विकास तो हुआ है आपके यहाँ, लोग तो लग रहा है खुश हैं. तो वो 2 मिनट चुप रहे और मेरी तरफ देखा और फिर पूछा कि बोले, विकास किसके लिए विकास किया है? डेवलपमेंट. डेवलपमेंट फॉर हुम? 1994 की बात है. मैं समझता हूं कि ये सबसे अहम सवाल है. ये डेवलपमेंट फॉर हुम. When we talk about development and the politics of development, development is not something abstract. Development is not something that you can measure only in figures. That so many million tons of steel are being produced, so many million tons of highways are being built, so many houses have come up, so much concrete is being consumed. These are not the indications of development. Has development benefited the people across the board? Has development benefited the poorest of the poor? That is the question. And that is the question we must ask ourselves, and we must ask our political parties, we must ask our policy makers. China is often praised कि देखिए चीन कहाँ पहुँच गया, and how poorly India figures in this. I've been to China many times, no doubt, from what it was when I first visited China in 1986, and between that time and 2009 when I last went to China. Yes, on the face of it there's a lot of changes. The roads are wonderful. There were no roads. The roads were as bad as ours. There were no roads, and now there are great highways. And I remember asking one of our Chinese escorts once, how many kilometers of these expressways do you have? So he gave me a figure. He said, today we have so many thousand kilometers, and by the year 2015 we will have 96,000 kilometers of expressways. It surprised me a bit. I said, why 96,000? Normally people express in multiples of 5. कि 10,000, 20,000, 70,000, 75,000, तो ये 96,000 क्यों? तो मैंने पूछा कि why 96,000? So he said, the United States has 95,000 kilometers of highways. So China must have 96,000. See, now this has 2 dimensions. I always use this example to give 2 dimensions. One, you see, ambition is very good. So China has the ambition that we must be number 1. जैसे आप सब बच्चों का भी ये है कि क्लास में फर्स्ट आना है, यूनिवर्सिटी टॉप करना है, बहुत अच्छी बात है और होना चाहिए. मुझ में भी था, मैंने यूनिवर्सिटी टॉप भी किया, और इस जोश से आगे बढ़ना है. But sometimes I also wonder कि in this process, when you select these physical targets, do you sometimes lose out on the other aspect that I was talking about? The aspect of wholesome development where you take everybody along. China is also facing a lot of disturbance within. We all know that along with development, there are many other issues that have come up. Today, it is said that you don't hear the chirping of birds in China. पक्षियां है नहीं, सब खत्म हो गए. Because the Chinese actually love eating birds. And you can find in markets that various kinds of birds are sold for as food. And as people have become richer, they can afford all this. And so many people are buying all these exotic kind of meats and birds that the ecology has been so badly damaged that it is beyond repair. जब हम अपनी धरोहर की बात करते हैं, when we talk about our legacy and heritage, must remember it is not only old historical ruins, forts and so on. Our environment, our trees, our plants, our wildlife, all this is part of our heritage. And in this process of building those 96,000 kilometers of highway, we should not lose sight of that. When we talk about development for whom, you see, this is very important to remember that. When you talk of development, in a sense that yes, we will need to build more highways, more dams, more of physical structure, don't forget that the average hill dweller who collects firewood, who has a communion with nature, who lives in that society, who gives back to nature what he gets from nature, if that relationship is destroyed, it can never be recaptured. And the West is today regretting the fact that they have destroyed that entire ecosystem. And although they are lecturing us that you don't, you contain your emission, this, that and so on, but there is also an element of jealousy that how come India is managing to retain that spiritual power, retain that family tradition, retain its cultural values while moving ahead. So, when we pose the question development for whom, we must look at it in a very holistic manner. The second point I would like to make here is that it is a tragedy that issues of development have never really become a political or electoral factor in India. One of the speakers pointed out to all the many scams that have happened and how the politicians have been looting the system. As a second-term member of parliament and a member of a political party, I must admit that while this is largely true, it is not entirely true. I don't think that all politicians are crooks. I don't think all politicians come into the field of politics only to loot money. I think politicians have also done a lot of good to this country. And if you have the right kind of politician, and you hinted in your paper that how we should get the right kind of politician, if you have the right kind of politician, I think a lot of good will come of it also. Because after all, you must remember that the development process, laws, taking the country forward, all this cannot happen on the street. It can only happen through elected representatives, through your state assemblies, through the parliament. And that is why I think it is very important that the issue of development becomes an electoral issue. It becomes a political issue. ये दुख की बात है कि आज तक विकास का मुद्दा कोई चुनावी मुद्दा नहीं बना. अब इसमें ऐसा है कि ये जो घोषणा पत्र होते हैं राजनीतिक दलों के, उसमें तो फेरिस्त छाप दिए जाते हैं कि हम अगर सत्ता में आ गए तो ये करेंगे, ये करेंगे, ये करेंगे। घोषणा पत्र तो ये राजनीतिक दलों के जो सदस्य होते हैं, जो कैंडिडेट होते हैं, बहुत समय वो खुद ये घोषणा पत्र नहीं पढ़ते। उन्हें मालूम ही नहीं होता कि क्या घोषणा की गई है उनके पार्टी नेतृत्व के द्वारा। ये हकीकत है, सच्चाई है। मैं अपने अनुभव से ये बात कह रहा हूं और बहुत दुख के साथ कह रहा हूं, क्योंकि सबको लगता है, जो प्रत्यक्ष राजनीति में शामिल है उनको लगता है इसका कोई फायदा नहीं है, लोग पूछने वाले नहीं है। लोग नहीं मानते कि जो वादे किए जाते हैं वो कभी पूरे भी किए जाएंगे। लोग नहीं समझते। हाँ ठीक है, राजनेता चुनाव के समय ये सब तो कह तो देते हैं, लेकिन कोई कुछ करता तो है नहीं। तो इसीलिए आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट देयर इज डिमांड फॉर दैट अकाउंटेबिलिटी। सो अनलेस वोटर्स डिमांड दैट अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड स्टार्ट क्वेश्चनिंग पीपल, 5 साल में एक बार मौका आता है। पहले तो इससे ज्यादा नहीं आता था, लेकिन आज मीडिया इतना जागरूक है, लोग जागरूक हैं, इतने सारे एनजीओज हैं जागरूक हैं, तो टुडे इट इज पॉसिबल टू होल्ड द पॉलिटिशियन अकाउंटेबल टू द प्रोमिसेस दे मेक एंड देयरफॉर टू मेक द इशू ऑफ डेवलपमेंट। विकास के मुद्दे को हमें एक चुनावी मुद्दा, एक राजनीतिक मुद्दा बनाना है। जब तक ये राजनीतिक मुद्दा नहीं बनेगा, अगर इस पर जवाबदेही नहीं होगी, तो कभी भी देश में विकास की गति आगे नहीं बढ़ेगी। मैं समझता हूं इसके लिए हम सबको मिलकर प्रयास करना है। आज हमारे देश के सामने आई बिलीव देयर आर 3 ब्रांड्स ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स। 3 किस्म की राजनीति सामने है। One is the politics of identity. The second is the politics of subsidy. And the third is the politics of development. When I talk about the politics of identity, मैं उस राजनीति की बात कर रहा हूं जो जात पात, धर्म, समाज, भाषा, इस पर नागरिकों को बांटकर उनमें से एक तबके का वोट हथियाना चाहता है। The politics of identity depends on divisiveness. It divides people. It says that you belong to X caste. I, your political leader, belong to your caste. And if you vote for me, if you have faith on me, I will see to it that our caste together, I and you, and a few associates whom I can get along with me, together we benefit. Therefore we find that when those who base their politics on the politics of identity, when they come to power, there are constant allegations not only of corruption but also of favoring particular castes and communities. Now this, as I said, is the politics of divisiveness. Unfortunately, in large parts of the country, particularly in North India, now you see what is happening in UP today. Even election predictions have become impossible. I was talking to some of the election opinion poll people. They said, sir, this time it is impossible. कुछ नहीं कह सकते हम, क्योंकि from seat to seat, everything is divided on caste lines. Now, why has this happened? We cannot only blame people. The fact is that there is so little delivery, there is so little actual development that people have lost hope. They don't believe anything will happen. They don't believe that politicians will actually do anything beneficial that will bring good to the people of the community as a whole. So when they lose hope, when they don't believe that there will be delivery, they say it is better to stick to our caste leader, stick to our group leader, and we will at least get some job, some benefit. If there is something to be got, we will get it from there. So I think this is something which politicians are largely responsible for, but the people have also, because they have lost hope, they are supporting this kind of politics. The second is the politics of subsidy. The politics of subsidy is a strange phenomenon. In principle, it is not bad. I'm not saying politics of subsidy is bad, that the NREG scheme or other schemes that have come, that they are bad. No, they are in principle all very good. But only today I was reading in the papers that in NREG, in one state, although people are supposed to get 100 rupees per day for work, they have received 1 rupee 10 paisa for a whole day's work. 1 rupee 10 paisa. Because the system is such that in between there are so many middlemen and there are so many criteria to define and redefine what amounts to full day's work that people have not been paid, although the promise has been made. Now, you see, whenever all these schemes are state sponsored and the Babudam is entrusted with the power to decide on how to allocate funds, corruption is bound to happen. The more you have the politics of subsidy, the more you have the politics of corruption. And this is the history of the last 65 years of independence. We've had so many schemes, so many government schemes, and money has actually been made by the middleman, by the middling category. Now we are going to have the Food Security Act. People are being promised that food will be given to them at 3 rupees a kilo for wheat, 35 kilos per person for the month. And now you see, we've had rationing schemes before, but where has it gone? It has found its way into the black market. And the people for whom these schemes are devised often do not get the money. It sounds very good, but never actually happens. Most importantly, durable assets are not created. I was in the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Rural Development, and we went on an inspection tour, I think about 3 years ago it was, of the effectiveness of the NREG scheme. हम गए आंध्र प्रदेश में, जहां कहते हैं कि NREG लगभग ठीक ठाक चल रहा है. वहां जब हम गए किसी एक गांव, नाम भूल रहा हूं, करीमनगर जिले में, वहां पर मैंने डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट से पूछा कि आप बताइए क्या काम किया आपने पिछले 1 साल NREG में. तो एक लेडी ऑफिसर थी, वो ले गई हम सबको एक क्षेत्र में जहां काम चल रहा था, और मैंने देखा कि करीब 20-25 श्रमिक वहां काम कर रहे हैं. एक कुछ खोद रहे हैं, गड्ढा खोद रहे हैं. तो मैंने कहा गड्ढे से क्या होगा? बोले कि जब बरसात आएगी तो बरसात का पानी यहां जमा होगा, तो इससे खेती का काम बढ़ेगा. मैंने कहा तो यहां तो तालाब है, एक कनाल भी है, तो ये गड्ढा फिर दोबारा आप क्यों खोद रहे हैं? तो हंस के वो ऑफिसर बोले सर मुझे कोर्ट मत कीजिएगा, तो और करें क्या? इस साल हम गड्ढा खोदेंगे और NREG के पैसे से अगले साल उस गड्ढे को भरेंगे. यही करते रहेंगे कि और तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता, या ड्यूरेबल एसेट तो बन नहीं सकता, हम तो बिल्डिंग बना नहीं सकते, सड़क बना नहीं सकते. हमें कहा गया है कि बस आप ये लैंड बेस्ड काम कीजिए, सॉइल बेस्ड काम कीजिए. तो सॉइल बेस्ड काम क्या है? गड्ढा खोदो और फिर गड्ढा भरो. तो मेरा कहने का मतलब है, you see, when we talk about these politics, this development through subsidy, you cannot achieve your targets this way. You cannot achieve the target of development this way. In that same village, when we went to meet the panchayat people, they also said that look, what is going on? Government is wasting the money. We are asking for a school to be built here. Our children have to walk 3 kilometers to near a school, but they say no school building cannot be built. NREG law does not permit it. So when you have this kind of subsidy-based development models, they don't work. Development model only works when you build the infrastructure and empower people to take advantage of that infrastructure so that they can grow themselves. That is the only model of development. And that is the model of development that must become the central to our politics. You see what the roadways have done. Your Golden Quadrilateral connecting all the 4 big cities. The east-west, north-south 6-lane highway that is under construction today. And even more importantly, the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. I have traveled through the length and breadth of the country and have seen how much change that has come as a result of these roadways. I have driven myself from Delhi to Bombay twice. Once before the Golden Quadrilateral came up, ये स्वर्णिम चतुर्भुज बनने से पहले मैं खुद दिल्ली से गाड़ी चला के मुंबई तक गया, और अभी 4 साल पहले मैं दोबारा इस स्वर्णिम चतुर्भुज से एक बार दिल्ली से मुंबई और एक बार दिल्ली से कलकत्ता जा चुका हूं। दोनों बार मैंने देखा कि जो छोटे छोटे ढाबे थे सड़क के किनारे, वो सब ढाबे अब आलीशान रेस्टोरेंट बन गए. Many have become air conditioned restaurants. They have had kind of extension quarters, the places for drivers to rest, to have a shower, proper toilets have been built, and the economy of the entire village around these places has changed completely. Because with the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, today farmers are able to bring their produce from the village to the mandi in no time, all-weather road that has been constructed by Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. The roads, when roads are built, the roads are not for use of particular communities. Road does not say Brahman only, or Dalit only, or Rajput only, or Kshatriya only. Roads don't have labels. When power plants are built, power is not divided by caste. कि हिंदू के लिए बिजली, मुसलमान के लिए बिजली नहीं, ये तो होता नहीं ना. Power, roads, schools, these are the building blocks of a nation. And unless we can do that, unless our politics is oriented to that development, I am sorry to say the country will keep getting divided and be pulled down. So, next time when you have that great power in your hand to vote and bring a government into power, keep these things in mind. It is not a question of party. I believe every party must be committed and pledged to this politics of development. But let them not practice divisive policies. Let them not waste our money in subsidy alone. A certain amount of subsidy is a must. Our farmers are poor, they must get subsidy in many parts because in the different states there are different costs of production. Fertilizer is already subsidized. We have to devise a method where farmers are able to make up for the growing input costs. Even in the West, in Europe and America, farmers are subsidized. But the thrust of development of these societies, those societies that have developed, has not been based on doles, they are not based on divisiveness. In most countries of Europe and America, there are actually no toll charges on the roads also. Because the government believes that it is the government's duty to build roads, to enable the economy to grow, to enable entire society to grow, to enable industry to grow, to promote investment to come. That is the politics of development, and we need to ask this question as to why our political parties are not united in seeking this demand that politics of development must come center stage, and the politics of development begins with the development of the infrastructure, because without that infrastructure, your development is simply not possible. If you are unable to receive even aid and investment, what is the point of that aid and investment? If money comes and you are unable to properly utilize the money, what is the point of that money? So, देने वाले तो बहुत हैं, लेने वाला भी चाहिए, और हमें लेने वाला बनना है ताकि हम इसका यूटिलाइजेशन कर सकें. ये विदेशी पूंजी की बात करते हैं, खामखा एफडीआई इन रिटेल की हमें इस देश में कोई जरूरत नहीं है. We have hundreds and 1,000 crores of small entrepreneurs, small traders who have been running the system perfectly well for all these years and centuries. We need technology and money for infrastructure. We need roads, we need power, we need electricity and all these factors. And in conclusion, let me sum up, see the various stages that we have gone through. After independence, we used to have a slogan given mainly by the left, which said, मांग रहा है हिंदुस्तान रोटी कपड़ा और मकान। वाकई उस समय स्लोगन की जरूरत थी। राइट अप टू द मिड 60s, जब तक ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन नहीं हुआ था, people did not have enough to eat. India was importing food, and only when the American ships used to dock in Mumbai, and then the food grain was distributed in all parts of the country, were we able to eat. वो भी दिन बहुतों को याद होगा। From that, we have managed to provide a reasonable position. मकान तो सबको मिला नहीं, अभी भी झुग्गियों में रहते हैं, बहुत के पास तो झुग्गी तो है नहीं, वो भी नहीं है, लेकिन रोटी और कपड़ा पहले से काफी बेहतर स्थिति में है। उसके बाद in a few years ago, the term बिजली सड़क पानी became the catchword. कि हर चीज में we said बिजली सड़क पानी, यही स्लोगन है। बिजली सड़क पानी के आधार पर हम चुनाव लड़ेंगे, चुनाव जीतेंगे। चुनाव लड़े तो बहुत, लेकिन उसके बाद भूल गए बिजली सड़क पानी। स्थिति बदतर से बदतर होती गई। देयर इज नो बिजली, सड़क अभी भी बदहाल है, और पानी, पीने का पानी तक उपलब्ध नहीं है लोगों के लिए। बीएसपी टुडे इज अ फेल्ड स्लोगन। मैं पार्टी की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं बिजली सड़क पानी की बात कर रहा हूं कि फेल्ड स्लोगन है। हमें आगे इसको बिजली सड़क पानी की जो चुनौती है उसको हमें पूरा तो करना ही है, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ मैं समझता हूं जो पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ डेवलपमेंट की मैं बात कर रहा था, जो हमारे इस ढांचे को बनाने की बात कर रहा था, द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बिल्डिंग, रोड्स एंड अदर एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, मैं समझता हूं कि हमें अब उस दिशा में जाना है जिसमें हमारा स्लोगन होना चाहिए शिक्षा, स्वास्थ्य और समरसता। शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य के बगैर कोई देश बड़ा नहीं हो सकता। आज देश का हर नागरिक आंकड़ों के मुताबिक 29% उसकी जो अर्निंग है, 29% वो अपने स्वास्थ्य के लिए या परिवार के जो उनको रोग मुक्त करने के लिए खर्च कर देता है। इन अदर एशियन कंट्रीज द परसेंटेज इज ओनली 12। थाईलैंड, उसके प्रधानमंत्री भी आए थे कल गणतंत्र दिवस में, वो थाईलैंड जैसा वो भी गरीब देश है। ओनली 12% of people's incomes are spent on health. The rest is spent by the government. In India, which is poorer, our per capita income is much lower. वहां we are spending 29% on health matters. ठीक, अब हो गया 29%. This is not acceptable. Education and health are primary, and then the question of distribution. इसीलिए मैंने कहा समरसता. It has to be ensured that 1% or 2% of people do not grab all the benefits of that infrastructure growth. Equality of opportunity is a must in our journey of development. तो यही मेरा निवेदन है, ये सबसे आग्रह है, all you young boys and girls who are going to go up and determine our policy in the years to come. Please keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. I think all of you are voters. And all of you, I hope everybody here is a voter. I would urge you to keep this in mind when you vote, that vote for those who will take this country forward through the politics of development. जो विकास की राजनीति के माध्यम से देश को आगे बढ़ाएंगे और विनाश की राजनीति की ओर नहीं ले जाएंगे। विनाश की राजनीति को हमें रोकना है, उसको परास्त करना है और विकास की राजनीति को आगे बढ़ाना है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।